Hey everyone, welcome back to the Let's Talk Q&A show, and we're doing it live like we do almost every single week now. I want to welcome everybody who's here in the chats. Let me check the comments now. What's up? Kevin's here. Nice to see you, Kevin. Accuracy of Movies is here. Haunted Pillowcase is here. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. Is David doing this live stream? No, he's not doing this one with me. We'll have to schedule another one with David. I don't know if we'll do one in April. It's really late there for him. He lives in Ireland, so I think now we have the 5 hour difference again, so it's back to it being midnight there. But we'll probably do another one in May. I think we said, sometime after Easter, we'll do another one together. Speaking of which, just to give you guys the rundown on how the live shows are going to work for the rest of the month before we get into this Q&A show, I'll be doing the live show tonight, next Saturday. And then I'm not too sure when I'm doing another one. I was thinking about doing one actually Easter morning because I have the day off of work because it's Easter here. And I'm sure it's Easter for everybody because that's a religious holiday. But I do have the day off. So I was thinking about maybe doing like a breakfast live stream that morning before the Let's Talk Physical Media show comes out at 10 a.m. Maybe we'll do a Q&A and just hang out because it's also not just Easter. It's also 420 and it's also WrestleMania night 2 that night. So we can talk a little bit about WrestleMania night 1, what we thought, and then do it the next one. So if I like this question, if Venkman called in sick and the Ghostbuster called you, what would you do? I would spring into action. Good evening, John. Good evening, John Doe Juggalo. Make sure you guys are always subscribed to our channel, producer John Doe Juggalo's channel. Great guy. Glad you can make it here, buddy. Nice to see you, Jeff. So appreciate everyone who's shown up so far. So that's just the rundown. We'll do one. So we'll have 3 live shows for the month of April. Definitely this show next week, and then we'll do another one. I'll let you guys know ahead of time. But right now, I'm looking at either Easter morning or the Wednesday after Easter as the other one. So we'll work it out from there. So John's going to do a wake and bake on Easter. Gotcha. Yeah, might as well, right? Have the whole day off. Just to celebrate all 3 holidays. How rare is it that we can get? I mean, I consider WrestleMania a holiday. I know a lot of people consider the Super Bowl a holiday, but I mean, that's the Super Bowl of wrestling. So I have to celebrate that. And plus, it's 2 nights now. What's your next 4K review? Kevin, I'll have 2 this week, actually. I'm going to be reviewing this Tuesday. I'm going to have Time Cop on 4K Blu-ray review. I already shot that review this morning. And I also shot my Tommy Boy 4K review, which will be on Wednesday. So we'll have 2 of those this week. And then also on Friday will be me and David, a.k.a. Shamrock Balls, review of The Mask, and we went over 2 hours on that one. So I'm really excited for you guys to see our Mask breakdown. That's a big movie for both David and I. And I figured we'd start this week with it's a little bit of a somber list, but since Val Kilmer unfortunately passed away this week at 65 years old, we're gonna go and we're going to talk about Val Kilmer for a little while. I'm going to give you guys my top 10 Val Kilmer films. And 3 of you guys actually asked me this. Jose, Haunted Pillowcase, and who was the third one? I think it might have been Deathstalker 83 or Hard Rocker 83. Is it true that there are no special features on Time Cop? Yes. And I don't want to ruin the rant here, but yeah, there are no special features on Time Cop. Not on the 4K Blu-ray, not on the Blu-ray. I thought that was a mistake too. I thought they were going to announce the special features as they got closer to release, but they did not. So yeah, no special features on there. So you can imagine how I feel about Time Cop going into that 4K Blu-ray review. Audio's not new either. So the only upgrade is to the visuals. And I've knocked other studios for that. So Scream Factory's going to get a tongue lashing too, because that is absolutely ridiculous. I do not feel good about that. What was this question? Just 1 minute. Would you like to see a short round solo movie right now? I would love to, since Kiwi Kwan, is back in the spotlight. He's starring in movies again. Still so charming. I would love to see that. If they're going to do something with the Indiana Jones license, why not check in on Kiwi Kwan's short round? I would definitely be into that. But let's count down the top 10 Val Kilmer movies, shall we? Val Kilmer was one of those actors. I wouldn't say like he was one of my personal favorite actors. I always enjoyed him. He was in the spotlight for me personally my entire life, essentially. He was my first Batman. Batman Forever came out in 1995. I was born in 1992. The first Batman movie I can remember coming to be released was when I was 3 years old, and that was Batman Forever. Then I retroactively went back and saw Batman Returns and Batman 89, and now Batman 89 is my favorite. But for a long time, Val Kilmer was technically Batman to me. And when I first thought of Batman, that's who I thought of. So Val Kilmer was always there, and then I obviously caught up to the rest of his career. The guy always seemed to be willing to do whatever was asked of him. He seemed like an actor's actor. Also, being able to do comedy like Real Genius. Then I have one comedy on my list that I don't want to spoil yet, but it's not the kind of role I would have thought from Val Kilmer. It just shows that, like, as serious of an actor he is willing to at least poke fun at himself as well. And 65 years old is way too young to be dying, so let's count him down. At number 10, I got True Romance. You don't even see Val Kilmer's face in True Romance. He's Elvis Presley in that movie. He's over there talking to Christian Slater and giving him advice. Christian Slater, huge Elvis fan. So figment of his imagination, he talks to Elvis, calms him down, gives him the confidence that he needs. And Val Kilmer is a really good Elvis. I wouldn't expect it, but he does a great job at it. It's funny, we get two Elvises we don't really see on screen in the 1990s. 1993, we have him, and then in 1994, we have Kurt Russell. Sorry for coughing. I'm a little bit under the weather, guys. So I like Real McCoy with him and Kim Basinger. Oh, that's a good movie. I haven't thought about that one in a while. Kim Basinger, very underrated actress. Rogue One. Hey, John, how's tonight going? It's going pretty good so far. Thanks for showing up, buddy. I appreciate you. We're counting down the top 10 Val Kilmer films right now. At number 9, I do have Batman Forever, and this will be my first hot take out of all the live action Batmans we've gotten since 1989. Not going to really count any Batmans before that, but since the original Tim Burton Batmans, I would say that Val Kilmer is the worst Batman. Even worse than George Clooney. I feel like him and George Clooney are by far the two worst. And I used to give Val Kilmer, and I kind of have pulled back a little bit on that hatred for his Batman, because when I saw the Val documentary, he explained how uncomfortable the suit was and how uncomfortable it was to act. And that might explain a lot of the issues why he just feels, as David told me today, he feels very wooden. It's just that a lot of people also agree that George Clooney isn't even trying in freaking Batman and Robin. And that may be true, but I just feel like there's a little bit more emotion in there. I feel like Val Kilmer's energy doesn't match everybody else in Batman Forever. Now, I don't want to take this as knocking Batman Forever, because I really do enjoy the movie. It's just that, someone's got to be the worst, and I would even say he's worse than Ben Affleck. It's just that, but he's still pretty decent. I just don't think out of the movies that came out in 1995, I would say that's his best one. Let's see what else Rogue One said. Thought I'd say a little hello before I sleep. Long day and just saw a Minecraft movie. It was stupid, but enjoyable and hilarious. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's all that really matters, Rogue One. I appreciate you stopping in to say hello. And, have a good night, buddy. Completely understand that. I enjoy Batman Forever, especially Kilmer's role. It is underrated Batman movie out of all the all of them shockingly. Yeah, it's very underrated. You know what it was? It's just it's good. It's not great like some other Batman films. It's fine. And, coming off of Batman and Batman Returns, the change of tone and to still have it in the same universe, I think that hurts Batman Forever. If you would have just changed every role and kind of said it's a new universe and separated it from how the Nolan movies are separated, it's weird how we have the two Tim Burton movies than the two Joel Schumacher movies, but yet they're technically in the same universe. Just doesn't necessarily work too well for me. I had a blast with the kids at the drive-in with Minecraft. See, that's what that movie is for. It's for the families. I know people are going to really like Minecraft. I'm glad you guys had a blast. I saw the pictures online. That's awesome. I'm glad that the kids enjoyed that one, Jeff. Next up, I have Top Gun Maverick. This is, a very small role. And now, since he's passed away, Val Kilmer, when he did get throat cancer, he pretty much lost his ability to speak, which is very sad. But he was still trying to act, and he did a pretty damn good job in Top Gun Maverick. And I feel like this is the one where you look back on it and, you think of the later career performances from Val Kilmer, you'll think of him in Top Gun Maverick. And he does a fantastic job. It's one of the more emotional moments between him and Tom Cruise. And I think it works fantastically in the movie. Let's see what Succular Mark said. He said, Minecraft was made for kids. That's why it will make all the money. Yeah, I saw. I think it's on pace for $135 million at the box office this weekend. That's exactly what we need. Even if that movie is not for just straightforward adults, we need movies like that to be successful. And you can almost guarantee that a good family-friendly movie that's directed at the families will do always pretty good at the box office because, hey, what's a better way to go, at least when I was growing up, than to go to the movie theater. So at least kids are enjoying this movie. Hopefully it's like one of those movies that's a memory for them as they get older. Absolutely love that. What's up, Mr. Smelly Potato? Glad you can make it, buddy. Our channel bankroll member. Appreciate you popping in here, buddy. Um, did you like The Saint? The Saint didn't make my top 10, but I did want to revisit it before I actually did this list, but I just didn't have time between, he only passed away a few days ago. So I didn't get to revisit all the movies. I'm doing, watching other movies too. So I wanted to revisit The Saint. I wasn't in love with it the last time I saw it, but, sometimes, you know, you revisit it at an older age, maybe you'll appreciate it a little bit more. But I wasn't a huge fan of that one. Kind of feels like one of those 90s movies that gets forgotten about, but I remember it not being one of my favorites. Next up, I actually got that documentary I was talking about a little bit earlier. Val. Val is fantastic. I really like Minecraft. Now I want to play the game. See, that was the only reason why I didn't like rush out to see Minecraft, is I've never played Minecraft. Ironically, I had an Xbox. What was the last generation? I might cough a little bit throughout this. I'm still recovering from a cold. That's why I sound a little bit nasally. But I had an Xbox One S Minecraft edition that came with the game Minecraft. Still never played it, despite owning the game. I think that was a generation after me. But hey, if the movie is that good, it makes you want to play it. What's better than that? Tom Hanks is a station. I don't know. We're not going to talk. I threw his movies out years ago. Well, I'm sorry about that. Tom Hanks is still my favorite actor. I know why people say that nowadays. Best Kilmer movies: Tombstone, Top Gun, Heat, and Willow. Okay, well, those might make my list. We'll get to those. Just love to see what you think of Kill Me Again. I'll have to check that one out as well. Acris of movies. My student's elementary school teacher here. Nice. That's awesome. Love Minecraft. It's all they were talking about this week. See, that's awesome. That's what makes Minecraft great. Like, I might not be the target audience of it, but I'm glad that kids are talking about movies. That's what we want to see. That's how we get new cinephiles, is we got to get kids talking about movies, young adults talking about movies, and even, people in their early 20s. Like, we got to get those people talking about movies. And if Minecraft is that movie, think of all the movies that we grew up that are like cheesy as hell, that probably not everybody was talking about, that adults probably knock to this day. Like Hook. I see Hook all the time at like the bottom of Steven Spielberg's list of like his worst movies. They'll like put that right there with like The Lost World of Jurassic Park. But there's people who love Hook because it was a childhood favorite of them. For me, like Jumanji, I don't think everybody loves Jumanji, but I loved Jumanji when I was growing up. So like if the Minecraft movie is that for younger kids today, that's awesome. That's all you can really ask for. But back to the Val documentary. That's what I have at number 7. Val is great. I think I watched this on Amazon a couple of years ago. Basically, Val Kilmer was just filming his entire life, and that's awesome. He was a huge fan of all of these different kinds of movies. He was just a fan of being an actor. So like he was kind of documenting his life and his journey through Hollywood. Just a very smart guy, Val Kilmer. And that's kind of where I learned to appreciate his like performance in Batman Forever a little bit more, because yeah, the role was pretty damn hard. And I kind of take for granted being in that heavy suit and then having to act. So maybe that's where I was a little bit wrong. So I think you guys should check out that Val Kilmer documentary. It came out a couple years ago. It's great. Number 6, I got Shane Black's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. This wasn't the only like return to form for Robert Downey Jr. It was also a kind of return to form for Val Kilmer as well. And this is kind of the classic Shane Black buddy comedy kind of movie. These two are playing off each other. They have great chemistry. It takes place around Christmas. Just a very enjoyable movie. Just to remind people that Val Kilmer is a hell of an actor. At number 5, another movie that came out in the 2000s, only a few years, I think 3 years after this movie, is MacGruber. This is my favorite comedy movie that Val Kilmer ever did. He plays the villain in this movie. I think his name is Vitor von Kuntz. Plenty of jokes throughout the movie about pounding some comf and all that stuff, as you can imagine. Very low blow stuff. Are you going to do more eating on live streams? Yeah. If someone asks me a question about some food, I'll try that again. I don't know if you guys enjoyed that, watching me eat, but if you did, I'll do some more of that. But MacGruber, I think, is one of the most underrated comedies to come out in the last, I would say, 20 years. Not a very popular film when it came out, based on the Saturday Night Live skit that Will Forte did. Will Forte, another underrated comedic actor. But MacGruber's one I'll watch every single year. The jokes haven't gotten boring or still yet. Are they overly top and stupid? Absolutely, but that's the stuff I absolutely love. So Val Kilmer playing the villain in that movie, playing into all these dumb jokes. I love to see it. Just one little quick joke in the movie, like when he's the leader of a bunch of henchmen. Henchmen walk in the room. He's painting, of course, and he just doesn't even look at him. He's like, shoes, like to take their shoes off. One little joke like that, and then just basically how he's just so much smarter than MacGruber, but yet MacGruber still kind of can get the better of him. Doesn't make sense. He's just that much more intelligent. At number 4, I have The Doors. This is probably one of his more famous performances. Oliver Stone's The Doors that came out, I think, in 1991 or right around JFK, I believe. But Val Kilmer is great in this movie as Jim Morrison. The movie itself, a little bit uneven, a little bit too long. I feel like Oliver Stone, this is one of his more unfocused films, but it's still really, really good. I haven't gotten the 4K Blu-ray of that one yet, but I definitely want to eventually get that one. But that's a great movie if you've never seen The Doors. It's really his performance doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I still really enjoy that one. Number 3, Top Gun. I mean, he's Iceman, and he's a fantastic actor. There's some a little bit of like he might be too good of an actor for this one. He's trying too many things, like talking through his teeth a couple times in this movie. You know, you're dangerous. That's your problem. Every time you're up there, you put everybody else in danger. It's like basically calling Maverick selfish. Everything that he is saying in this movie to at Maverick, he's completely correct about. His character, the safer one, probably the better one out of the two of them as far as being a pilot, but he's not willing to take the risks as much as Maverick is, which is a shame. So his character, I guess he's kind of looked at as the antagonist, but I don't really look at him that. I don't really look at him as that. They're basically both fighting. They are fighting for the United States Army, both of them. So they're both fighter pilots, and this competition, this Top Gun competition, we're just kind of rooting for Maverick. But everything that Val Kilmer is saying in this movie, he's not wrong about. At number 2, I have Heat. I mean, Chris in Heat is great. His character, not as much dialogue as in other movies. And, number 1 here, you guys have probably figured it out already. He can deliver, just be that guy, give the show a performance. But, giving a more subtle performance like this, his relationship with his girlfriend, I mean, his wife in this movie, it's not that simple. We're in love. Everything is peachy. No, they have some problems. These problems come to the forefront pretty early in the movie, but we can see that Chris is a troubled guy. And one thing that was pointed out this week, I never realized, like, the only times we ever see Chris smiling in the movie is like right before the worst things in his life happen to him. And it's like, that's just such a tragic character. And Val Kilmer plays that character to perfection. I think that's the better of his performances that he did in 1995. And then, of course, 1993's Tombstone is number 1, where he plays Doc Holliday, and the accent works perfectly. I'll be your Huckleberry. I can't do it right, especially right now. My voice, I can't do a Val Kilmer Tombstone impression, but he is perfect in that film. He deserved all the recognition that he got for it, which wasn't a really appreciated film at the time. Obviously, cinephiles appreciate that movie. Look how excited we all are for Tombstone coming to 4K Blu-ray. Poetic, I guess, in a sense that he passes away the same month that Tombstone comes to 4K Blu-ray, something that the physical media community has been asking for years. So we'll get to see him in all his 4K glory pretty soon. And Tombstone has to be my number 1. Let's check the comments. Let's see what this one says. Did you like or ever see Heathcliff cartoons? No, I don't think I did. Actress of movies. That doesn't ring a bell for me. That would be fun to see you and Faith going to a restaurant and trying that food. Listen, me and Faith, we should do some more stuff like that. The Doors was good. Too bad you could only get the 4K in England. Yeah, I thought that Kino Lorber released that, but yeah, I haven't checked out the 4K, and I don't remember the reviews being too great about that. Just went up for pre-order. Did it really? Oh man, got to get that one. And that's just coming to Blu-ray, but I'm pretty damn excited for that. That's a very underrated comedy as well. Cinemaniac, love Val's performance in Heat, and Ashley Judd was gorgeous at the time. Yeah, Ashley Judd really was beautiful at that time. Great movie. Can't wait to talk more about Heat. I love that movie. What movie would you like to see Val Kilmer and Eddie Murphy team up in? What's funny is that two of them kings of like the buddy comedies when it comes to like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and then Eddie Murphy, obviously, with the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. So you got to team them up in another buddy cop movie. I just think that would work perfectly. Lethal Weapon style, have Shane Black write the script. I think it works out really well. I mean, I would like that 80s kind of like look to it. Maybe have them in their 80s charm when they're both, still skinny and young. But I think they would be perfect together if they teamed up in a comedy, a buddy comedy at least. Did Willow place in your top 10? No, Willow doesn't make my top 10. Surprisingly, I'm not the biggest Willow fan. I know a lot of people love that movie, and I remember when that 4K Blu-ray came out last year. And 80s movies are my favorite, but Willow was one that never really stuck with me. I tried it again. It's not like another one that's probably a big surprise for one that's not really stuck for me, being the big 80s film fan that I am. And I know it bothers my mom because she's the world's biggest Karate Kid fan, but I am not a huge Karate Kid fan myself. And I haven't told Ralph Macchio myself yet about that, but yeah, I'm not the world's biggest Karate Kid fan. It was never one for me either. I loved Heathcliff as a kid. See, that's something I guess I have to check into. Great answer. Thank you very much. And so let's check out some other questions that we have as well, because there's a bunch of good ones this week. Want to make sure we get to at least all the topics we have scheduled. We just did all the Val Kilmer ones. That was from a bunch of people. Here's one that's interesting from our channel. Bankroll member. Want to make sure we answer his question. Mr. Smelly Potato. He said, if you ever run out of space in your movie room, will you put up more shelves in another room, or will you curate or purge the collection? So you guys can actually see the shelves right behind me. Those are the movie shelves that my cousin Matt and his dad built for me. So they're not actually they're kind of like he built them at his house and they transported them here and then they're nailed into my wall. So they're like handcrafted, hand sanded shelves. Like I would love more shelves like that, but there is absolutely no room in this room. I'm sure you guys can probably tell, like, look how crammed it is. Like, you could see the tripod right there. The lights are right there. My TV's right here, and then the computer right here. This is a very small room as it is. I'm thinking, though, like, maybe there's a way where he can put some shelves, like, if you guys look right behind me, like, underneath the window there or going up next to the window. Have to do something creative like that. And I'm getting close to filling up the shelf, which is getting very concerning for me because but I'll probably do like what you're talking about. And I haven't done one in a while, and I don't have the time. I would love to I go through the collection and like really sit down and like think about what movies I don't want to have keep in my collection anymore. I have about 1,000 in there altogether, and I don't see a reason to there's no chance I'm going to watch all these movies over again. So got to be honest with myself, like, what movies for the rest of my life do I want to have in my collection? I'm not one of those collectors that likes to just hold on to a movie just to have it in my collection, say it's there. The collection's for me. So when I'm dead, what happens to it is what happens to it. But in my lifetime, that's like for me my personal blockbuster. So I can't imagine me keeping all of these movies. So I'll do that first, and then I'll look into like building more shelves. But that's the issue of being a collector, isn't it? Skeleton Monk said, purging would mean that I have somewhere to trade in movies in my collection. Sadly, there isn't a place that is near me that takes trade-ins. Yeah, that you have to go the eBay route, or see, like, what I do is I usually just give my stuff away personally. Like, when I get rid of like Blu-rays and 4K Blu-rays, that's one cool thing about having a YouTube channel. I can just give the stuff away. Because I personally cannot be bothered with the selling market, especially with eBay and like with the shipping. If I'm going to do the shipping and handling, I'm going to ship it to somebody who I know and take care of them before I do this. Hard Rockers here. Love the new thumbnail. Sorry I'm late. How's it going? It's going pretty good. Glad you made it, buddy. Would you like to see a Road Rash live action movie? Absolutely. I mean, we've gotten plenty of other freaking live action movies. I'm willing to try anything. I heard today actually that the Tangled live action movie is being put on the back burner after the failures of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Oh, Ryan Hales here. What's up, Ryan? What's your opinion on the movie Cats from 2019? I did not like it, but I don't know if I was going to like it anyway, even if it was good. I'm not a big musical fan, so that already had a mark against it, but I was interested in seeing it just because it's considered one of the greatest Broadway plays of all time. And I was like, yeah, I'm not a Broadway guy. So I was like, okay, let me go in, check this one out. And I didn't like it at all. And then obviously you hear about all the problems with it after. And, it was one I'm never going to revisit. So I didn't like Cats, unfortunately. Love Cats. I know I'm probably, yeah, you just heard me shit on. I'm probably the only one. Hey, I don't want to take anything away from anyone who likes Cats, please. If you love it, you love it. Should there be a Ghost Legacy trilogy? Like, what? Like they make a sequel to the original Ghost starring, Whoopi Goldberg. I don't know. I don't know if I would like to see what Demi Moore and Whoopi Goldberg are up to nowadays. I thought Ghost ended perfectly with Patrick Swayze. Love that movie. Do you like Tyler Perry movies? I've liked some Tyler Perry movies. My wife Faith is a fan of them, and we've gone and seen a couple of them. I can't even remember the one we saw in theaters in like 2011, 2012. Thought that one was pretty good. Some of the Medea movies have gotten some laughs out of me. Um, I've had a couple friends who have worked for Tyler Perry down in Georgia, and I didn't hear great things about their working experience, which is a shame. But those kind of things kind of might change my judgment about him. But overall, though, I mean, I've never been a huge fan of his movies. I've seen the ones that I've seen have been pretty good, but my wife's a fan of him, so as long as she's happy, I'm happy. And so that was a great question, Mr. Smelly Potato, about the shelves as well. And this one's not really a fun question, but this is a physical media channel, and I know people are worried about it. And if I can do my best to help anyone out, that's always what I'm going to do. I got to remove these. Let's go to here. And this is from Rico Gomez. Here's an important question for your Saturday show. With these new tariffs, will 4Ks from the UK cost even more? I still feel like it's a little too early to tell how things are going to go with the tariffs as far as affecting the physical media market. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I actually pre-ordered all of the Dollars Trilogy movies on 4K Blu-ray. And yes, the answer is the short answer is exactly this. Yes, it's going to definitely affect us, but I don't know exactly when it's going to all kick into place and like really start to hurt us, but I did pre-order the stuff from Arrow Video. The UK only releases for the Dollars Trilogy on 4K Blu-rays. Those imports, I pre-ordered and paid off them through the Atomic Movie Store just in case they did go up in price because of the tariffs. Now, the first indication of tariffs having an effect on at least the physical media community, you can look towards the video game community first and foremost. Look at how the Switch 2 was announced this week and the price of that. Part of the reason they said was because of tariffs. They said that's the reason why everything is going to cost more money with that console. Now, I wasn't surprised by that $450 price tag because it's in line with the PlayStation and Xbox and what their consoles cost. So I wasn't too blown away by that. More people were surprised than me. I was like, I'm pretty used to that. Maybe the Nintendo people just weren't that surprised. Tariffs from the UK are 10%. So like think of just as an example, that means that on a $100 movie, if there's a 10% tax on it, that's an extra $10 that you'll be paying. So we don't want that to happen, but more than likely it's going to. Why can't Hollywood be more original? Everything these days are remakes. Yeah. As far as the negative side of what Hollywood is doing, that's the stuff that works. And it's unfortunate. It's just that's the stuff that still makes money. And it really does bother me because I like original films just like all you guys do. It's also that we don't go to the movies as much anymore. And I'm at the point where I was talking to somebody today who follows this channel. I commented on his video on his post about being burnt out by movies. I'm extremely burnt out by new movies lately. I just feel like they're very, very generic, and I have to like kind of there's good ones out there. Like I was so excited to see The Brutalist in theaters, and I was blown away by it. It was a great theater experience. Black Bag was another one, but it didn't make that money, like all the money. Like it's hard for me, like with the new Marvel movies coming out, I'm not excited at all. And I used to be like, when Endgame came out, I saw that in theaters 3 times. I remember, and I worked a long job. Like I worked at a job that my shifts were minimum 10 hours. And I went before work to see Endgame by myself, and then I went to work. Like, and I was just so hyped. But like nowadays, it's just I don't have that same exact hype anymore for a lot of these new movies. Every once in a while, like Oppenheimer and Barbie, like they built the hype. Like I was excited too. It's just like they don't really have too many original movies anymore to get me like fully thrilled and excited. I still get more excited for a 4K Blu-ray coming out of an older film that I love than I do for a new movie coming out in theaters. It's cheaper for me to still go to the theaters because I could get an AMC movie pass that I pay for, and that's what I think $26 a month now. A good 4K Blu-ray is about $35, and that's just for one movie that I'm going to watch at home. And I'm more excited for that and going back and revisiting movies that I love in a brand new format, like with the brand new HDR on it, than I am to go see a movie in theaters. And it shouldn't be that way. That's like, it should be the new movie should get me most excited. Like we coming into the season, I'm excited for a lot of movies coming out. Next week with Warfare coming out, Alex Garland's been one of those guys giving us a great theater experience. Excited to see that. I'm also really excited. Sinners the following week to see a Ryan Coogler movie, not in the MCU for the first time in a long time. Really excited about that. So there's still movies coming out in theaters that I'm really excited about. It's just they're not. It's not like how it used to be, in my opinion. And I hate to be a downer, but it's just that's how I've just generally been feeling lately, and I feel like a lot of people like that. But back to like talking about the fun stuff. Switch 2 is going to be even higher than $450. They said tariffs will be rising higher than $450. They're saying the Switch 2 may become $625. Now, that's absolutely disgusting. And the Switch is supposed to be one thing about the Nintendo brand. We're talking about Minecraft here and family oriented stuff. One thing about Nintendo is they're a family console. I grew out of Nintendo. I don't really play Nintendo games that much, but I did buy my wife a Switch, and every once in a while, I would go on there. That's speaking of being burnt out. One thing I got really burnt out on was video games, and I started to concentrate more on movies. But when it comes to video games, like the Switch 2, I was like, I start to get those nostalgic feelings of when I was a kid. Like maybe I'll get a Switch 2, but I know like I won't. But I know you, buddy. I know John Doe Juggalo, Jeff. I know you're a huge gamer, and I imagine you and your kids would love to get a Switch 2. And that's got to be a price point that I'm sure you're not feeling too comfortable and happy about. So I always thought that was a little bit ridiculous. So which movie we do a watch party for? I'll answer this one in a little bit. But yeah, as far as this goes, actors movies, I think that Last Boy Scout would be in Ghostbusters would be a fantastic one as well. The whole Switch 2 thing could be very similar to the PS5 where it first came out, dumb scalpers. Now, do you guys think that's going to happen this time with the Switch 2? Because I was thinking about that. I remember it's been 5 years now since the Xbox Series X and the PS5 came out that it was so hard to pre-order the consoles. It was a nightmare. Do you think with these higher price tags, it actually will deter people? Because I can't even imagine, like it's coming out in June, which is before the Christmas season, which is good, like by about 6 months. Do you think that people will actually be going out of their way and like trying to get these and reselling them for like say like $700? Like I don't know what the market is. I don't know. People's wallets are a lot tighter than they were in 2020. I can't imagine the expendable cash being there. So I don't know if people will be going out of their way and doing that. I could be wrong. I'm not as much in the video game side as like with the movie side. So that's me just completely speculating. If you guys know, like it does fascinate me with this whole thing. When is the Monkey coming to Blu-ray? June 24th. They just announced Blu-ray and 4K. I don't even know if it's got a Blu-ray release. Don't quote me on that. But it's coming to 4K Blu-ray 100% on June 24th, Ryan. And Hard Rocker. I pre-ordered 2 movies this month, Lethal Weapon and Drop Zone. So Lethal Weapon, one thing about that is still no official announcement on that. And I've heard from some people that Amazon might have prematurely announced that one, and it might not be coming to 4K Blu-ray on April 29th like it says. And I talk more about this tomorrow on the Let's Talk Physical Media show, but for people who are in here right now, if you're not aware, the Dollars trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars, has been delayed until May 12th. So that 4K Blu-ray will not be coming out on April 22nd like it was supposed to, which really kind of screws me over because I pre-ordered that through the Atomic Movie Store along with Sneakers on 4K Blu-ray. And what sucks about that is that when you pre-order stuff in the same order, you can't separate them. So now Sneakers won't get to me until May 12th as well. So kind of screwed up my entire April schedule. Going to have to go back to the drawing board. Let me read this out loud. 100 agree with you about your feelings about new movies and getting my movie love buzz. Sorry, guys, I don't have the love for physical media of older movies. So yeah, you guys, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's just how I'm generally feeling right now. Unfortunately, I wish I didn't feel that way, but I get more excited to go back and watch the older movies than I do to get excited to go into theaters and see the newer movies. I just feel like right now the art is second to the money, and that really does suck. And one thing that I've kind of gotten back into this year is watching TV shows with my wife. And I've watched I'm watching The Studio with her right now. We watched Adolescence last week. That was a great. The TV shows have really like piqued my interest as far as the art form goes, whereas the movies, like the stuff that makes money, it's the same, and it really does bother me. Let me read this from John Doe Juggalo. They're saying the Xbox and PS5 could be going up in price as much as $75 because of tariffs. I can't believe how expensive our entertainment is becoming. And it really does suck. And I know you experience this too, Jeff. It's like funding the YouTube channels, like to buy the movies out of pocket. We have to really pick and choose now, because if one movie costs $40, and then they talk about Time Cop basically getting burned on a $35 4K Blu-ray, it's ridiculous, because we can't afford to buy all this stuff. And I hate to be negative, but it's really upsetting to the point, like, every form of entertainment, like if you're into video games and movies, and this stuff is like built to fail now too, like our TVs, our sound systems. That's why I had to get a new sound system. Is like, and yeah, I mean, 6 years is a pretty good amount for a sound system that I definitely used and abused, and I got my money's worth on that, I guess. But to suck it up and have to, now finance a new sound system, because this is what I do. Like, this is not necessarily my living, but it's my hobby. My favorite hobby is watching movies and then talking about movies here on YouTube. So to have to like now suck up, go buy a new sound system, and then still keep buying the movies, it gets very expensive. I imagine you guys, it's the same exact thing. And then like, hey, yeah, the Switches 2 is coming out. I want to buy one. And then it's like, I can't afford that. That's way too much money. So John Douglas, if these things keep going to almost $700, I don't expect there to be too much for scalpers to make. Exactly. That's the thing. Who's buying it? Like, you're just going to be basically just rich people, but like, Nintendo's supposed to be a family company. I would think that they would want that in the family's hands. That's just my guess, at least. What are your thoughts on a Nora and Sean Baker film? So I actually really liked Nora. I didn't think Nora should have won Best Picture, if I'm being 100% honest. I think that The Brutalist, out of the movies nominated, that should have won Best Picture. Nora was really good. Mikey Madsen was great in the role. Sean Baker's films, I've enjoyed them. Like The Florida Project is great. Red Rocket's great. They're like a little bit more taboo subjects. I like that he kind of tackles that. I appreciate that Sean Baker also writes his films, directs his films. I think he produces it. I know he edited Nora, so I really enjoyed that. It was pretty damn funny. I didn't 100% love the movie, but I still really, really enjoyed it and appreciated it. Just like that's kind of how I felt about a lot of Sean Baker's films. I will probably buy the Criterion 4K Blu-ray, because I want to own every film that's been released on 4K Blu-ray that's a Best Picture winner. So like, I think we got another one coming out in the next couple of months, besides the Nora coming out in April. But I think In the Heat of the Night, I think it's coming out in I think it might be May. What's up, Mozart's Ghosts? Glad you can make it here, buddy. Make an airport new disaster movie trilogy called Spaceport. That would be awesome. How come we don't get disaster movies that much anymore? Only Roman Emmerich is out there still making disaster movies. Pretty damn disappointing, if you ask me. I think I love disaster movies. I really do. It's just something that they're not the greatest, but I absolutely love them. Have you seen The Wild Robot? No, I still haven't seen that. That's a big one that I know I have to get to. I'm waiting for a price drop in the 4K, if I'm being honest. Oh my God. Can't wait for the Kool-Aid 4K, the Scorsese cut, of course. Oh my God. I'm so glad that you guys are watching this show too. You guys owe it to yourself. If you guys are, as movie fans, you guys will appreciate this more than anybody else. My God. The Scorsese, I don't know how they got him, but like, I honestly felt a little genuinely sad when he started. Like, he's over there sobbing, and then when freaking just Buscemi walks in, and he's like, "Marnie, are you crying?" Great idea, though. I'm surprised we haven't got the Jonestown movie. Could you argue Toy Story is the greatest animated film of all time? I could make an argument about that. I have a Kevin Kruger question about Tom Hanks. We'll talk a little bit more about Toy Story then, because I do love that. Mozart goes, I like Red Rocket better than Nora, but I felt like it was taking a shower afterwards. That's the problem with Red Rocket. That's the one big issue with Red Rocket. I felt a little uncomfortable too afterwards, even though the movie itself is really good. Accuracy Movie said, I expected the studio to be better. I don't like how Bryan Cranston character is named after the Tim Robin character from The Player. I thought of The Player immediately with that, so I kind of empty homage. The satire needs to be more specifically. See, I think the satire for the studio is directed towards modern movie making. I don't think necessarily in broad movie making. I think this is kind of more focusing on like the modern film style. Like the first episode's dealing with like Martin Scorsese, his last kind of project and all that stuff. Think of like how Barbie, that's kind of what they're focusing on, kind of teasing, like the second episode being about the Warner. Love that one. The third episode being kind of about a Ron Howard film. So I think that's what they were focusing on, accuracy of movies. But I 100% respect your opinion. I got to be honest though. I've loved every second of it so far. Let's see what else we have in the chat. Want to make sure I answer. Let's see. I'm not a huge fan of Baker personally. I kind of like the film to be overrated. They seem to be fixated on sex work. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think this is like the new Academy thing. They want to go for like these more shocking Best Picture winners, and Nora just didn't feel like the type of Best Picture winner that I absolutely loved. And I appreciate it, but it just doesn't. Does that feel like a Best Picture winner to you? Like in a couple of years, will you be thinking like Nora was one of those Best Picture winners? Like last year, we had Oppenheimer, this big, huge, epic movie, like the final crowning of Christopher Nolan as one of our great filmmakers. Sean Baker has 3 Academy Awards now. You know who has one? Martin fucking Scorsese. I don't mean to like knock Sean Baker because yeah, this is a guy who's passionate about film, and that's everything that we ask for as a guy to be passionate about film, making great original films, and that's what he's doing. So I don't want to sound too negative either, but oh, Tangerine is great at Chris movie. You are 100% right. Are you still going to do the top 10 Val Kilmer movies, or did I miss it? You did miss it, buddy, but you can always watch it on the replay. I did that right on the top because you aren't the only person who actually asked that. 3 people asked that this week. So that's the one big thing. Let's see. Honorably remembered like Crash or Shakespeare in Love, just in my opinion. I don't think it'll be remembered as bad as Crash. Like I just still think that and Shakespeare in Love are probably the 2 biggest ones for me too, as far as Oscar films, Best Picture winners. Crash is definitely the worst of them. Like that should not have won Best Picture that year. I think they got cold feet on Brokeback Mountain, and that's really a shame because now the only thing when you talk about Crash is just how bad Crash is. So it's very disappointing in that sense. Let's do another question. Let's do some Tom Hanks because I know some people might not love Tom Hanks now, but Tom Hanks for a long time. How would you rank the Tom Hanks movies in your Blu-ray collection? So I got them all right next to me over here. Let me put myself at full screen. Let's see when Mozart's goes. That movie Kilmer did about Wonderland Murders was pretty good. Very disturbing though. Yeah, well, Val Kilmer, like he's had just such great range, Val Kilmer. That's one thing about him. Let me see, make sure I got to everything. Will Faith ever join a Q&A? It's funny enough, so funny that you brought this up. Faith actually was talking to me about doing a Q&A with me one of these weeks. She'll probably do it in the other room, but yes, Faith is on the schedule for a Q&A, and we have David on the schedule for a Q&A. And then I also want to ask Frank from Frank's Media Reviews. Haven't asked him yet behind the scenes, but I do want to ask him if one day he'll want to do a Q&A with me as well. So, I return the favor a little bit. Frank has me on his live streams all the time. I just, I'm very bad at asking people things, and I get nervous. Even asking Frank, who's a good friend of mine, about being on a live Q&A, get a little nervous. Maybe ask Jeff if he wants to do one of these days. I just, I don't know why. It's just how I am. It's just kind of a poor thing with me. Personality flaw, I like to say. I'm bad at asking people things. But yeah, so the Faith though has said that she is interested, and she'll also be doing the Clueless review with me in July, since that's her favorite movie. So when that gets the 4K Blu-ray treatment, we'll do that. But let's count down these Tom Hanks Blu-rays. Tom Hanks, I still say he's my favorite actor of all time. I've just always enjoyed him. Just kind of felt like a lot like Jimmy Stewart, like just comfortable watching him. Do I think he's the greatest actor of all time? No. In a lot of ways, I think Jack Nicholson is my favorite actor of all time now. And when it's all said and done, it's just, I always have a problem replacing my number one. It's the same thing with the Terminator. It's like, I've always said that I'm my number one. It feels weird to not say that you're number one anymore, but I do think that Tom Hanks has been passed at this point, but still, I love the guy, and we're going to rank his Blu-rays that I have in my collection. Now, just remember, I don't have all of his movies in my collection, but I do have a fair amount, so I have them all right down here. At the bottom is the Steven Spielberg film, Bridge of Spies. Haven't really watched this since I bought this Blu-ray. It was the first time blind buy Blu-ray watch for me. I remember this being really good, actually. What's his name? Mark Rylance, I believe, won the Academy Award for that film. He was really good in it. As I spill coffee on myself. That's why I don't really eat too much on here. I'm kind of a slob. That used to be the selling point. What is your top 10 comfort movies? I've actually done that on here, but I can do that again. We'll talk more about that. But that was a live stream we did a few months ago. It was actually my top 5 comfort movies, but I have a bunch of them, and one of them is in here. Next up, Joe Dante's The Burbs. And I love this movie. Very underrated film. I believe it's a Shout release, isn't it? Oh no, it isn't. The Shout haven't released this. This is just a universal release. I don't, but The Burbs, great Tom Hanks movie from the 1980s. Got the Joe Dante quirkiness about that one. Just worry about your neighbors, guys. Next up, Castaway. Really a solo project for Tom Hanks, getting to show off his chops. Robert Zemeckis directed this one. And this movie I remember very specifically going back and in the year 2000, sitting in my grandparents' house when this movie came out. They had an apartment at the time because they were going to be moving to Florida, and watching this movie first time it was ever on cable, and I loved it. Tom Hanks just blew me away. Him and Wilson acting against each other was just fantastic. you know. But it was a one-man show. He gained the weight, then he had the loss. And while he was losing the weight and growing the beard out, he went and directed another movie as well, What Lies Beneath, which is getting a 4K Blu-ray release from Scream Factory in early May. Hopefully that has some fucking extras on it. My God, I'm still a little bit upset about what happened. Faith, see, here's Faith right there. Hi, guys. Faith, they were just asking about you doing a live Q&A with us, so we're hoping to get you on here sometime. My dad hates Tom Hanks, so I get legit mad anytime I would put any of his movies on as a kid. I never experienced that, my dad, as far as movies, but my dad does not like Bruce Springsteen, and I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan, so he would always make a comment about Bruce Springsteen every time I played Bruce Springsteen's music. So I can kind of relate to you with that. Not with Tom Hanks, though. He felt that it was more musicians. If it was a music he didn't like, would get personally offended, and I'd be like, I like it. We can disagree. Still to this fucking day, my dad. But yeah, Castaway, amazing, great. One of the best plane crash sequences in film history is at the beginning of this movie, and of course, he would double down on that Robert Zemeckis with Flight. But the performance is a great one-man show. The ending will still get you really sad to this very day. Putting it on the wrong pile. Now, this is also like quality of the Blu-ray / 4K, and the film is also playing a part in it. So think of that. It's like a smorgasbord of the way I'm ranking this kind of stuff. Let's see. The Burbs feels like it would be a good Arrow 4K Blu-ray. It does. I think actually, like I said, I think Scream Factory has the rights. So I'm surprised. We got Matinee on 4K Blu-ray at Joe Dante Film before we got the Burbs. I feel like it's more love. Where is the Castaway 4K? Yeah, that's another one we haven't gotten at. I love the Burbs and Volunteers. I haven't seen Volunteers in years. Let's see who else is what in Mozart's Ghost say. At Kevin every day that has some actor they despise. LOL. Yeah, it's just a dad thing. There's always somebody that they don't like, and then they have to let their kids know they don't like them. So we've all got those traumatic experiences with our dads, don't we? But Catch Me If You Can. This movie is one of my personal favorites. It's like kind of like a backdoor Christmas movie as well. It's got a Christmas scene in it. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks, two of my favorite actors, kind of going mono. Frank Abagnale Jr. And then what is Tom Hanks' character name in that movie? But he's fantastic as Carl Hanratty. I love his little accent. His joke in that movie. You guys want to hear a joke? Knock knock. And then who's there? Go fuck yourself. Like the guy doesn't have a sense of humor at all, but he plays perfectly against Tom Hanks. Against Leonardo DiCaprio. Young Leonardo DiCaprio here, just very, very charming. Think he had 2 movies come out that year, if I'm correct, Steven Spielberg. Yeah, he did. He had that and another movie we need on 4K Blu-ray, Minority Report. So he did Catch Me If You Can, which is, a little bit more fun, a little bit more upbeat. Even though it's a crime movie, it's like the funnest crime movie you'll ever watch. Next up, and this is a huge one for me. The only reason it's this low is because it doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray. The Blu-ray is pretty good, but this used to play music. It doesn't play music anymore, but this is my Blu-ray for Big's 20th anniversary. Big, Big, a lot like Look Who's Talking was one of those movies I watched so much when I was a kid. And when I watch it now, I get those same nostalgic feelings. It'll make me cry almost. Would you just say this? I watch Catch Me If You Can on 4K. Now, how do you do that? Is it streaming on 4K? Is that what it is? But yeah. So Big is one of those movies I quote it all the time. It's one, obviously the most famous scene in Big is the big piano scene. with him and Robert Loggia. Uh, but that the whole movie is just very memorable. When you think about it now, though, he's a 13-year-old kid and he's sleeping with an adult woman, given Tom Hanks as an adult, but still pretty strange when he turns back into a kid and she's like looking at him. I would have drove away from that feeling pretty disgusted with myself if I was him. If I'm being honest with you guys. Was Road to Perdition good? I never saw that one, even though it seemed like a big deal that year. Shit, I have Road to Perdition on Blu-ray, and I didn't grab that off my shelf. It's got to be close. Give me 1 second, because that should be probably right here where we are. Thanks for reminding me. There it is. Every damn show I forget a Blu-ray. Yeah. So here's Road to Perdition. This one needs a 4K Blu-ray. Yeah, this movie is absolutely fantastic because not only it's one of the rare times Tom Hanks actually plays a villain, and of course he doesn't play a straightforward villain. He's got some weight on him. No, he plays a gangster. Paul Newman's great in that. It's a great winter movie. Daniel Craig is in that movie as well. Plays a real piece of shit. I love Road to Perdition. If you guys haven't seen Road to Perdition, that's 100% a recommendation from me. Huge. Written there it is. Written by Max Allen Collins. Yeah, and isn't that who directed that? Same. Oh my God, I was gonna draw 1917. American Beauty. Sean. I'm drawing a blank on the director's name who directed it. Somebody will correct me in a second, I'm sure, but chime in as soon as you can. But Daniel Craig worked with him on Skyfall and Spectre. I don't know why I'm drawing a name. I mean, this is a Best Director winner. Sam Mendes. I was thinking Shawn Mendes. Thank you, Scott. I don't know why. Sometimes that happens. Sam Mendes. Accuracy with Spielberg is the scenario will be a compliment agrees to whatever you decide. Yes, Spielberg is just one of the greatest directors, if not the greatest director of all time. A lot of people's favorite Spielberg film, celebrating 50 years this year. I know David A.K. Shamrock Balls is really happy about that one. Our first 4K Blu-ray up on the list here, Forrest Gump. Still love Forrest Gump. This 4K Blu-ray, though, is a little bit disappointing to me. I've talked about that in the past. It's just a little too dark for me now. If you have the Panasonic 820, you can adjust the HDR settings and make it brighter. But I know not everybody has those abilities to do that. So even though I can fix it like that issue, I still don't think it's right that not everybody can. I just think the 4K Blu-ray should be a little bit brighter. And they've had a bunch of opportunities to fix this, but this is Paramount, and Paramount is just the kings of being lazy when it comes to 4K Blu-ray releases. So it really does kind of bother me. Next up, a good 4K Blu-ray. And also just a great film, Apollo 13. This is a movie that my dad's not a huge movie fan, but I remember when this movie came out in 1995, and then when it came to VHS, my dad was a big fan of that movie, so I watched Apollo 13 so much. Speaking of Ron Howard in the studio, that's probably one of his best movies. Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton. Just absolutely love that movie. Tom, it gives you the good feels. It's, it knows exactly what it's doing, that kind of movie. It's manipulating you in the best way possible. It's just a great movie. So, Forrest Gump is still can't believe it went over Pulp Fiction and Shawshank. Yeah, well, I've had a lot of people explain to me, and I get it. Like, Forrest Gump seems like the better Best Picture winner. Pulp Fiction is my second favorite film of all time. Obviously, I think Pulp Fiction should have won Best Picture. Is Forrest Gump overrated in that sense when you compare it to those movies? Sure. What is your favorite making of documentary? It's either Heart of Darkness, or I really love the making of for not Back to the Future, although a good one as well, is Blade Runner. Blade Runner's making of is fantastic, and so is the making of for The Frighteners. That's a great making of it as well. I still love Forrest Gump. Feel like it was good that it became a meme. Yeah, see that'll kill a movie too. Is like once you just get satire so much, it kind of ruins it. But Apollo 13 is still great. It gives, I guess, the American pride kind of feeling like this is a true story. Tom Hanks is the perfect guy for that. And this is a tie. I told you guys I talk about Toy Story. But you got the Toy Story trilogy on 4K Blu-ray. These movies mean a lot to me based on my age, if anyone's around my age. But like this almost lines up perfectly with me. Like the first one came out in 1995. I was 3 years old. The second one in 1999, and then the final one. I know there's a fourth one, but we're not going to talk about that one right now. We're going to talk about 1 through 3. But the last one came out the year I graduated high school. So when Andy graduated high school and went to college, I was doing that. So I didn't go to college, but what he was doing, like letting go of his childhood, I was bawling like a baby in theaters. Like I have such a huge connection to this franchise, and Tom Hanks was, he's Woody. He's the voice of Woody. Tim Allen is the voice of Buzz Lightyear. But this is still like when I can hear him, and he got the job for a Blu-ray I don't have, but like when they were testing the movie, they would use the voice work that he did on Turner and Hooch, which is another one of my favorite Tom Hanks movies. I don't have the Blu-ray or anything for that. I haven't even looked up how much that would cost, but I absolutely love Turner and Hooch back in the day. Darkroom Reviews is here. What's up, buddy? Thanks for stopping in. I really appreciate that. Hoping you're having a good Saturday night as well. Make sure you guys subscribe to Darkroom Reviews YouTube channel. I like Toy Story 2, Toy Story 4, the best of the franchise, in my opinion. Hey, I don't disagree. If you like that one, I can understand that. I like the original trilogy the most. One thing I'll say about Toy Story 4 is the animation is absolutely incredible in Toy Story 4. The scene in the rain in the beginning with the RC car, I mean, I was like blown away, especially if you go back and watch the original Toy Story. That's the biggest flaw. I mean, it's Pixar's first film, but you could just see that they were like reusing a lot of the same animations and like reusing the same models. They didn't have hair, right? Like the humans look really freaky. That's why they picked toys. It's very noticeable. But the original trilogy to me, it just means a lot to me personally. But if, hey, 4 is your favorite, 4 is your favorite, I'm not going to definitely knock you for that. It's not like it's a bad movie anyway. Next up, I got what should have beat Shakespeare in Love in 1998, Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan is one of the best Steven Spielberg films of all time. The Normandy Beach sequence is just absolutely, it's riveting. It's incredible. People who were in World War II said it's extremely accurate. Should have won Best Picture based on that. But then the rest of the movie, actually Saving Private Ryan, makes that movie just absolutely incredible. Tom Hanks gives a world-class performance in that movie. So does a lot of other people who aren't really known for giving world-class performances. And it's shot incredibly. It's Steven Spielberg. So what do you expect? The guy knows how to handle a film. But I absolutely love Saving Private Ryan. If John Candy could come back and do one movie with Tom Hanks, what kind of movie would you want them to make? It's great that they actually did, they did Splash together, but it would be nice to see them it's such a missed opportunity with John Candy, and that's what makes it so tragic. He died so young. We never got to see him as an old man. We never got to see him do the old man acting thing. It's like the same thing with Chris Farley, and John Candy would have like been the perfect grandfather in a film, wouldn't he? Like, he seemed like already he was going to be like the perfect dad in movies. Like you got to see him in Uncle Buck, but he would have been playing that same friendly, nice, lovable guy for more and more years, and it's a shame we never got that. It's a missed opportunity, but that's just what makes it so sad. Infinity Cold, what are you looking at, hockey puck? Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff about the Toy Story. John, I saw Lethal Weapon for the first time. Dude, tell me you weren't blown away by it. Lethal Weapon is in my top 10 favorite films of all time. I'm a huge, huge Lethal Weapon fan, so I'm hoping that you enjoyed that one, buddy, because I enjoy it every time I watch it. And then we're in the final two, and this might surprise you guys, but these are just great 4K Blu-ray, so that's why they're so high. But number 2, I got Philadelphia. This is a Sony 4K Blu-ray. It came out in the early years of 4K. It still holds up so well as far as the quality of that 4K transfer goes. And the movie Philadelphia is, I think it's one of the best films out there. It's starring him and Denzel Washington. Jonathan Demme, who directed before this, Best Picture winner, which won him Best Director and won, it swept the Oscars. We're talking about The Silence of the Lambs, which is another one of my favorite films. But he takes that like very great filmmaking prowess and style and brings it over to Philadelphia with the real big close-ups. And Tom Hanks plays a guy who earned him his first Academy Award for Best Actor in back-to-back years in that movie. Does a tremendous job. And I love the movie. I mean, I saw it for the first time in health class. That's how important of a movie it is. Obviously, it's dealing with AIDS, and it's a very, very, very sad movie, but I just always really appreciate it. Let's read this one out loud. Fun fact, when they were shooting Good Will Hunting, Robin Williams introduced Matt Damon and Ben Affleck to Spielberg, who was making Amistad. This is how Spielberg met Damon and eventually cast him. Didn't know that. That's very, very fascinating. I always thought it was funny how Matt Damon was in that movie at the same time as like Good Will Hunting was going on. It's just like they feel like such different roles. I was like, I wonder if he was cast before like before he like blew up, and this was gonna be just like another small Matt Damon role. Like was supposed to be like this, like because like look at how many other actors are in that movie as well, who like are in small roles, and then they would eventually blow up to be even bigger actors. So that movie just featured a lot of great actors. Who would you cast in Castaway remake re-envisioning? Huh. You know who would probably be great? Daniel Kaluuya, I think, would be a great one in that kind of role because I think he's a very, very versatile actor. And then at number one, now this is an upgrade over the one that actually came in here, but I still have the Columbia Classics slipcover on it. But this is a Legally owns 4K Blu-ray that came out last year. I actually sent the other one that came out with that over to John Doe Juggalo. But I think that's the best Tom Hanks 4K Blu-ray you can get right now. Forgot another one that's up on the shelf, Sleepless in Seattle. I have that 4K Blu-ray as well because I have that in Columbia Classics Volume 4. I'm telling you, I always forget these movies that I have. Good Will Hunting was 1998. Saving Private Ryan was 1999. Was it? I thought 1998 for Saving Private Ryan because didn't it lose to Shakespeare in Love that year? I got to double check that because I think it did lose to. I think it's 1998. Let me just double check. Yeah, 1998. Because I thought that release date July 24th. I was like, because I'm pretty sure the same year. There's no crying in baseball. See, I love Tom Hanks when he's doing crying. I mean, he's doing Good Will Lost to Titanic. Did it? I thought because Titanic beat LA Confidential, which really bothers me because I think LA Confidential is the better film over Good Will Hunting, in my opinion. Let's check what other questions we got. You guys can always keep asking some questions in the chat too. Feel free. I'll pop over there. Make Talladega Nights too. What kind of story and who should be the new driver? Who are the big comedic actors working today? We don't really have them making comedies anymore. John Cena would be good in that. John Cena definitely can do it. He's got the the over the top comedic senses as it is. I think he would be a good one in there. Winning an award in the 90s was truly incredible. Like it really sometimes they just gave it out to the wrong people. Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling can do drama and comedy. You are 100% right about that. He absolutely can do drama and comedy. He finds the perfect balance. He's never afraid to poke a joke at himself. And then when you ask him to fucking act his ass off, you get, My Blue Valentine and just absolutely destroy your soul. Have Will Ferrell's son in real life or actress become children? You think that he'll have his kids? That'd be really funny. His kids from Talladega Nights. Yeah, those two little. Sadly, one of them has passed away actually at a very young age, so we couldn't even get the same actors back, which does really suck. Let's go through and see what other questions we have that we haven't talked about yet as far as questions in here goes. Oh, here's one. I want to make sure I answer Amanda Cummings questions because I have another top 10 list that I made, but I can't find the question. Okay. Well, anyway, Amanda Cummings asked, what are my top 10 favorite stalker and obsession movies? And let's get that because I made a list for this one as well. And we'll start at the bottom. This is one we talked about on our Tony Scott podcast. The Fan, Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes. So Robert De Niro has an obsession with Wesley Snipes, a baseball player who played for the Braves, and then he went and played for, he moved and went and played for the San Francisco Giants. I mean, this guy's willing to kill for for Wesley Snipes. It gets a little bit out of hand, as if you guys have seen The Fan, like what happens to Benicio del Toro's character, a little bit uncomfortable. That movie's got that Tony Scott style to it. And I think it's a very underrated film, in my opinion, The Fan. Disclosure. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this one. This stars Demi Moore and Michael Douglas. Came out in 1994, I want to say. This movie, it gets a little bit ridiculous. I guess Michael Douglas just kind of loved to do these movies where a woman gets obsessed with him. He used to date this girl, but like now she's just trying to ruin not only his professional life, but also his personal life, saying that he made a move on her. Essentially, this is a very ahead of its time, like cancel culture kind of movie, but it's a pretty good movie if you guys haven't seen that one. It's a little bit over the top ridiculous, and it's a little bit unbelievable, but still pretty funny to watch. The Gift from 2015. This was actually the stars Joel Edgerton, and also he directed this movie. Really good movie, starring Jason Bateman as well. And, playing a Jason Bateman character, you usually don't see him play. Like, he plays a little bit of a swarmy kind of guy in this one. Got a bunch of twists and turns. I'm not going to spoil the ending to this movie, but what the actual gift is will probably surprise you. Very, very good movie, in my opinion. And hopefully, you guys have ever seen The Gift. Check that one out. What is your top 10 Rutger Hauer movies? That's a great question. I have to save that list for another show because I got to go back and probably watch some of them. At number 7, I have The Invisible Man, not the original Invisible Man, which is still one of my favorite Universal Monster ones, but the Lee Winnell one starring Elizabeth Moss that came out in, I think, 2020, I want to say, right before the pandemic. That movie is great. I really enjoyed that one. I have the Blu-ray, never upgraded to the 4K Blu-ray, but the Blu-ray is really good as well. I just really like Lee Winnell's eye for sci-fi. I haven't seen his Wolfman yet, but like between that and Upgrade, I like his sci-fi twist on horror, and that's just a great stalker movie. And yeah, it gets under your skin. Some great chats in this evening. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the chat. I really appreciate everybody who showed up here, like and is joining the live stream. I try and make at least do 2 Saturday ones a month. I think in May we'll actually be able to do 3 of the 4 weeks, but this month we'll only be able to do this next week for Saturday. But then we're going to do either Wednesday or Sunday morning. I think we're doing that Sunday morning, wake and bake, Easter Sunday, WrestleMania, 420 live stream. I think that'd be a lot of fun, right? And then next up, I got The Strangers, not the remake that came out last year, the reboot or whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm going to go with the original one from 2008 because this one's actually horrifying. And it's just the randomness of it all is what makes that movie so horrifying, is that the only reason they're even doing this is just because they were home. And I really like the sequel as well, Strangers Prey at Night, because basically The Strangers is paying homage to those 1970s horror films, whereas The Strangers Prey at Night is paying homage to The Strangers, to the 1980s horror films. So like you get kind of a lot of over the top, and especially the soundtrack in Prey at Night really works very well for me. But I'm picking the original one because it's just got a lot more horrific moments, and the character development is actually pretty good in that one. And at number 5, I got It Follows. This one is paying homage to those 1980s slasher films. It has a great 4K Blu-ray that I've been meaning to review here on this channel from Second Sight. But this one feels like a John Carpenter movie with the score. It's obviously basically an allegory for an STD. Like, it passes from person to person, and the only way to get rid of it is to pass it to another person. And, I think the ending it doesn't 100% work, but I still love that movie so much. Look at that shit. Look at that shelf space. Jealous. Yeah, that's it. That's all I really got is this one corner that you guys can see here. My collection ends right there. You can see it. And then I got, these are the movies right now that I have as far as doubles that I'm going to get rid of and eventually give away here on the channel at some point. You guys can see right there. And then you can see an Amazon. That's a Wire in there. Speaking of Wire, number 4, I have The Cable Guy. The Cable Guy, starring Jim Carrey. This is the movie that earned him that huge paycheck. I think it's directed by Ben Stiller, Matthew Broderick as well. Just an obsessive friend in the worst way possible. Jim Carrey plays in this movie. Great medieval times scene. I don't know if you guys have ever been to medieval times. Medieval times is an absolute blast. Unfortunately, I didn't get to be involved in the show like they got to be involved in the show. But Jim Carrey, like, I know the sense of humor. I think what people really complained about was how dark this one compared to those comedies that came out before this. This is 1996, so before this, you just had the 2 Ace Ventura movies, as far as like his big movies, The Mask and Dumb and Dumber, and then he was also in Batman Forever. But this was like, this guy was a little bit scary. He's got a weird obsession with Matthew Broderick. Matthew Broderick clearly does not want to be friends with him. Has a pretty damn dark ending, but some of the lines in this movie are just absolutely freaking hysterical. I love The Cable Guy for that. I would have embraced The Cable Guy. You'll never find a friend like that again. I've met people like that, and it gets a little strange. Let me just tell you. There was a guy in my last job who was like that a little bit too much, and I had to cut him off. I couldn't deal with that. It was, yeah, you'll never find a friend like that, but do you want a friend like that who's always around? I don't know. Misery at number 3. This one, I mean, this is what fandom basically is. Like, an obsessive fan. As of course, in this case, like, he just crashed in the wrong place, man, and got rescued by the wrong person. James Caan got rescued by Kathy Bates. This is one of the better Stephen King adaptations. Came out in the early. Rob Reiner directed this one. I think I want to say 1993. I could be wrong about that. Maybe it's 1990. But fantastic film. I always love this movie. The hobbling scene is petrifying. I mean, you see it break. It's not even a second. I don't know what it is. I think there's a breakdown. I think it's like either 10 or 12 frames of it is what they actually show in the actual film of that leg breaking. Oh my god, it's absolutely disgusting. But the lines are great. One of the best winter horror movies that you'll ever see. Just a great one from the 1990s. I love the Cable Guy. The novel makes it seem like a psychopath psychological thriller. That's the thing. It does. I mean, it kind of is when you really think about it. Number two, Fatal Attraction. You know, people don't like this 4K Blu-ray. I remember thinking the 4K Blu-ray is pretty good. Michael Douglas, and what's her name in this movie? Who actually is very surprised. Never won a Academy Award, or what's her name? Glenn Close. Glenn Close in this movie, she gets an obsession with Michael Douglas. You know, obviously he's wrong for having an affair, but his punishment for having the affair maybe goes a little bit too far from the Glenn Close character. The rabbit scene is actually still horrifying to me to this very day as an animal lover. Just you don't do that, especially like you're hurting the kid now. Michael Douglas, you know, just can't keep in his pants in any of his movies, man. I don't know what the hell. I get it, you're a good looking guy and women come on to you, but Jesus Christ. If Kathy Bates had said no to Misery, who would you can't? Aunt Jackie was on the roll, falling Broadway. You know, that's a good one. She would have been great. Who's the act? What's her name? Who plays Aunt Jackie? She's in Scream 2. You can see her doing a fantastic job if you've seen her in Scream 2. Lauren Lindsay. I don't know. I'm having a bad day with names, huh? Number one, though, Martin Scorsese film Cape Fear, starring Robert De Niro, Nick Nolte. Counselor, a remake of a 1960s Robert Mitchum film. Just a fantastic. I mean, this one also led to a great Simpsons episode as well. One of the better satire episodes of all time. Laurie Metcalf, there it is. She is great, Laurie Metcalf. Lady Bird as well. She was great in a few years ago. She's always just rock solid. But yeah, she's one of her best roles will always be in Roseanne. No matter what, she'll always be fantastic in that movie and that show. But I love that movie. Counselor. What is one movie you wish you could go back in time and find a sequel for? For me, it is Hudson Hawk. We needed a Hudson Hawk too. What is a movie we never got a sequel to that I thought we should have got one? It's always a good question because I'm not one of those people that says every movie necessarily needs a sequel. You know what one I'm thinking about? It got a sequel, but I think they should have made a sequel to it. I was thinking about this after rewatching it for the review. Time Cop. We should have got a real, genuine sequel to Time Cop 2 because my biggest problem with Time Cop is that they kind of blow the premise of Time Cop and make it a melodramatic story about him saving his wife and his unborn kid he doesn't know about until the third act. Like, if they would have just explored more of him actually being a time cop and fighting time crimes, like going back to like all these different eras that they could have gone back to, instead of wasting that in like 2 of the 3 opening scenes, I would have loved to see that. But unfortunately, we don't get that one. Oh, Vertigo. Jesus Christ. How did I forget Vertigo? That's number one. Like, Vertigo is my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie. You see, I put these lists together like right before the show and everything like that, and sometimes I forget things. But Vertigo is 100%. That's the best one. I love Vertigo. So knock everything down a notch. The fan misses the list then because Vertigo is the best. That's my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie. Good call on that. You know, Laura Linney could play a great Kathy Bates role. I think yes, Laura Linney is fantastic. Good call, Mozart's Ghost. Yay for Hudson Hawk too. One day, guys. One day, right? She could turn on a dime. Yes, for Lenny. See, everyone's getting in on this one. Love it, guys, when that happens. Let's see what other questions I have. I think I answered all of the questions that we have had in here. I guess gotta look. So if you guys want to answer some more in here, what is a movie you want to see that you have never got? So he just answers. What is a sequel that almost ruined a franchise? There is a time. Yeah, there is a Time Cop 2, but I want like a real time because I think that's a direct to video Time Cop 2. I want a real Time Cop 2. Because I mean, as far as Time Cop goes, that premise, I feel like there was just more to it than they should have gone that we actually got, which is really disappointing. Let's see. We talked some tariffs already. Talked about my shelf space. So Dumb and Dumber 2 is the movie sequel that I actually was the most offended by in my entire life. I'm being honest with you guys. That's a good question. We'll answer that in a second. Dumb and Dumber 2, like the not Dumb and Dumber, but Dumb and Dumber 2, Dumb and Dumber is my favorite comedy of all time. So we're going 20 years later. We're getting the Furley brothers back. We're getting Jeff Daniels and we're getting Jim Carrey back, teaming them back up. And the movie just recontextualized these characters. Yeah, they're dumb in the first movie, but they're not this dumb. Like they're dumb to the point where it's like, are they mentally challenged? Like they're more idiots in the first one. They're oblivious to things around them. Like in the second one, they're just too dumb, and it really hurts it for me. And it should have just never happened. We also needed a Primal Fear 2. I know there is a book for it. Is there really a sequel, a book for Primal Fear 2? That would be very interesting. But the twist ending at the end of the Primal Fear is magnificent. It's a masterpiece. Actors and Movies asked this: what is the best font or credit sequence for a movie? You know, some of the Alfred Hitchcock opening sequences, like for Vertigo or North by Northwest, are some of my favorites. The Bond movies have some of the best opening credit sequences of all time as well. But my favorite's always going to be, for my favorite film of all time, The Terminator. Just having the Terminator theme playing over the names going across and like the lime green, like it would be in the Terminator's eye. You know, I'm a little bit biased, obviously, being the big Terminator fan I am, but I love the Terminator's opening credit sequence. It gets me just jazzed and ready to go for the movie. Have you seen Cuffs? I've never seen Cuffs. Does that come in a 4K Blu-ray? Have you seen Michael Bean on podcasts like the Jamie Kennedy one or the Michael Bean's own podcast? I didn't even know Michael Bean had a podcast. That'd be very interesting to hear from him. You know, Michael Bean kind of disappeared. I don't know what happened to him, if he had some kind of personal issues, but he disappeared from the spotlight there for a very long time. And that's a shame because I feel like the guy in the 1980s, especially, you know, he'd only really pop up in James Cameron films, but the guy was a tremendous actor. I felt like he had some range to him. And there would have been so many like great crime movies. I think he would have been perfectly cast in my opinion, but it just didn't really work out. Who do you think is dumber, Harry or Lloyd? I always think Lloyd. Yeah, Lloyd is by far the dumber one. Harry's an idiot, but at least Harry, I feel like, can manage his life. Lloyd's just a moron. He didn't even know about them landing on the moon. No way. We landed on the moon. Yeah, Lloyd's definitely the biggest moron walking the planet. I just thought she was an alcohol. I just thought she was a raging alcoholic. I'm biased. I like the Married the Mob fond credit sequence. That's a good one. Another Jonathan Demme movie. I know you're a big fan of that one. Married the Mob is great. I always thought there should have been a third Conan movie entitled Conan the Conqueror. I think there was plans for a third Conan movie, but I think they couldn't get Arnold Schwarzenegger to come back. I know he was only contractually obligated to do the first two, but I think there were plans for a third one, and it just never worked out, which is a shame because I do love. I think just Conan the Barbarian is the better of that than the Destroyer. Conan the Barbarian, in my opinion, it's just a masterpiece of a movie as far as like those sword and sandal movies goes. I love that movie. The second one just becomes too kid friendly. Did you hear that they're casting Steve Buscemi in the Colin movie? Scorsese is attached to direct. I did hear this. This new guy who just got this big job. You know, now he's going to be the studio head over there. I forget what his name is, Matt something, but this is it. They're talking about it. He said they're going to get moving on a Kool-Aid movie. I heard Scorsese's attached to direct, but I also heard they're talking with the guy who did the Captain Underpants movie, kind of more in line with him. Kind of heard that I heard snippets about his story idea. Oh my god, you guys got to watch the studio. It's fucking great. Lloyd thinks he's smarter though. That's which is so funny. Hi Obi, what you doing, buddy? Huh? Are you getting worried about me? No, oh no, they're both gonna come in here. Don't cry, Obi. They're worried about me because I've been in here for a long time. Steve Buscemi for Professor Plum in Clue. Steve Buscemi, that's one thing about the studio they were 100% right about, is that Steve Buscemi is one of the best actors working today. He deserves more credit than they actually do give him. The poppers are here. Yeah, they just had to jump in here. Oh, Airhead 2. That would have been the Airhead movie. The first Airheads movie never really got the love it deserved. Adam Sandler didn't really break out and blow up until like Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, but he was doing comedies before that. This didn't get that kind of love. I'm a big fan of Bulletproof with him and Damon Wayans. It's weird how the guy who directs Juice and was Spike Lee's cinematographer all this time, Ernest Dickerson, his follow up to doing Juice is doing freaking Bulletproof. I love Bulletproof, but not many other people love Bulletproof, and I understand that. Let's see what else. Other questions we got. Oh, he was great in Ghost World. He also would he direct something Lodge? I can't remember. A good independent ScarJo movie too. Yeah, ScarJo. Higher than Mike Starr or Karen Duffy character in Dumb and Dumber. I would probably hire the Mike Starr character. He's an idiot, another idiot. Basically the way he dies. You blame me. Those were his last words. Unless you the gurgling sound. I feel like his character when collecting 4Ks. LOL. Let's see. Make a Ghost World sequel. Interesting. I would definitely be a little bit tough. Bulletproof is awesome. I'm glad I'm not the only one who appreciates Bulletproof. I always felt like that movie got a bad rep. Him and Damon Wayans in general just doesn't get the love he deserves as far as acting goes. He's a fantastic movie actor. I know he's most known for being a comedian, but he's a great movie actor as well. I like a Short Circuit 3. Weekend at Bernie's 3. Is there a Weekend at Bernie's 3? I'm not even entirely sure. Making Dumb and Dumber horror movie. I mean, you can go a lot of ways with making that. With that, look how they sold Paul at Petey. Like that gets a little bit dark. Would imagine Lloyd creeping around in the dark and hunting that kid down. You can do it. You can definitely make a Dumb and Dumber horror movie. I mean, Lloyd's so stupid he doesn't know when he's doing wrong by people. I mean, obviously, Mr. Andre wants to kill them. Steamboat Willie. Steamboat Willie's getting horror movies now. It's crazy. Rubber 2, the sentiment killer. Tar needs to come back. I still can't believe Rubber. I mean, we got a trilogy of movies for the Human Centipede 1, 2, and 3. Of all the trilogies in the world, could you imagine that that's the 3 movies we got a trilogy of for? The Maniac Cop movies are 3 movies. I think 1 and 2 are great, but 3's not the greatest. I can't believe we're getting Coco 2. I didn't know if we ever needed that as far as sequels go, but we're getting it. Let's see. What other questions do we have? This is a couple questions in here. Well, Betty Bopp as a killer would be great. Man. Here's some questions. Oh, by the way, top 5 Stephen King movies. Here's another one for the top 10 Val Kilmer movies and top 5 Halloween movies. You're talking about the Halloween franchise, Jose. My top 5 favorite. Gotta keep me in here. Halloween 3 would be number 1. Halloween, the original one, would be number 2. Halloween 4 would be number 3. Let's see. Halloween 4, number 3. Halloween 28 at number 4, and then Halloween Kills at number 5. Not a lot of a lot of ups and downs in the Halloween franchise. Now, as far as Stephen King movies, like The Shining is 100% number 1. I love The Shining. That would be my favorite. It's kind of hard to do off the top of my head without thinking. Number 5. Gotta think about how we do Attack of the Killer Tomatoes remake. My God, can you believe that movie exists too? I'm trying to think of Stephen King. Like Needful Things is a big one for me. I know not a lot of people love Needful Things. It Chapter 1's a big one that came out. I also like the It 1990 remake. Maximum Overdrive, just because I'm a huge 80s fan. The Monkey was pretty good. That wouldn't make my top 5 though. Stephen King adaptations though. We've done so many. It's really hard to Cujo. I love Cujo. I know I'm forgetting a million of them off the top of my head right now. Oh, Happy Time Murders. See, that is a good idea because the would be R-rated Muppets are awesome. I love that movie too. So many great ideas with that. R-rated Muppets are awesome. That's something we need more of. I'm with you on that. I love to see Wedding Crashers too. I thought they were talking about that. Wedding Crashers, you can do that. It's 20 years now, celebrating its 20th anniversary. So hopefully we get a 4K Blu-ray of that this year. But Wedding Crashers too, we don't really get too many comedy sequels nowadays, and usually they ruin it. Like we get those legacy sequels, like we got Anchorman 2. Don't know if we necessarily needed that. Would that be Funeral Crashes then? Yeah, Chad's doing funerals now. He's really cleaning up. Absolutely ridiculous. Excited for Young Guns 3, which begins filming in July. Is that true? I know it's coming. I've heard a lot of good things about what they're actually doing with that. It makes sense in the ideas of what the Young Gun movies actually are. So I'm pretty excited that that's actually coming as well. Thank you guys in the chat today, by the way. Ma, the meatloaf. We need it now. You want it? Chat's really cleaning up. The movie, I love Wedding Crashers. A quote that Baba Ganoush. You tell that bad ocean to stop it. Christopher Walken is so great in that movie as well. But I just want to let you guys know the questions of the week. Who were the nominees for that as well? Because I know people, a Dogma sequel, Smith has the rights. Looking forward. That actually, I'm pretty sure he's going to be doing is a Dogma sequel. He's doing Revenge of the Mall, Return of the Mall Rats. And I think he said if he got the rights back when I was on the cruise last year, I was on the View Askew cruise with him and Jay and Silent Bob Cruise and everything. And he was talking about a Dogma sequel. So that actually might happen. But the questions of the week would be Amanda Cummings with her top 10 stalker obsession films. Kevin Kruger with ranking my top 10, my Tom Hanks movies, my Tom Hanks Blu-ray movies. And what else do we want to do? Since a bunch of people asked about Val Kilmer, we'll eliminate that because we can't do that. And Rico Gomez for the tariffs question. That's a good one. We have to talk about it. So Amanda Cummings, Kevin Kruger, and Rico Gomez are your nominees for questions of the week. A Treasure Island horror movie. That would be ridiculous. I'm surprised they've never done a real straightforward Muppets horror movie. Have you seen Sexy Beast? Yes, I've seen Sexy Beast is great. That was Jonathan Glaze. Was that Jonathan Glaze's first movie? I know that's the one he did before Birth, which I think Birth is a better movie that Jonathan Glazer directed. But Sexy Beast is great. Ben Kingsley, man, he's terrible. You hate him in that movie. Sexy Beast, if you guys have never seen it, is a really good mom movie too. Actually, when you really think about it. I remember there's some really awkward relationships in Sexy Beast. Yeah, there really is. Basically, the guy wants to get out of doing this job. Like he's basically retired, but Ben Kingsley sends him back to work. He's forced to do it, and he really doesn't want to do it. Coyote versus Acme coming out in 2026. Yeah, and we all better see that after all the complaining we did. Ketchup Studios is doing that release, if I'm correct, which I couldn't believe that. I thought that was an April Fool's joke. I think they even announced it on April Fool's Day. Ray Winstone for Loomis. You brought this up. That is a good choice for a modern day Loomis. The last Loomis that they had, it was okay. Like they had the Loomis, like in the remake, that wasn't the real Loomis, but in the Rob Zombie ones, who was that? The guy who plays in A Clockwork Orange did that one. And he was fine. His eyes freaked me the hell out, though. They look better when he was younger. His eyes, he's got those scary eyes. He does, eyes. So, but any other last questions before I get out of here, guys? Got a few minutes left. I can do like one or two more. If anyone's got anything you guys want to talk about, anything that's on your minds, feel free to jump in the chat. I appreciate everybody who came in here tonight. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I mean, I hope you had no problem understanding me. I'm a little bit under the weather still. I was worried that my voice wasn't going to clear up by today. It hadn't fully cleared up, but at least I can speak now. I feel all right. Took some medicine before the show, and hopefully I sound pretty clear to you guys. Got a little dry mouth a little bit. But if you like the Bodyguard sequel in 1996, The Bodyguard is not one of my favorite Kevin Costner films. I like the movie. Obviously, it's most famous for the I Will Love You song, but I don't necessarily. I wasn't clamoring for a sequel to it, mainly because I don't really love the original as it is anyway. What do you most look forward to 4K releases? So there's a lot coming out on the horizon. Lethal Weapon is obviously one of them. Tombstone's huge for me. Dirty Harry's a big one. In June, there's so much coming to 4K Blu-ray. Sorcerer, Brazil, the James Bond, Sean Connery collections. The one that got announced last week, Dark World, that's Dark City, that's a huge one for me. I'm so glad that one's coming to 4K. That one's in June as well. Can't wait for that. The Man with No Name trilogy, that getting delayed kind of hurt me a little bit because I'm really excited for that. There's so many big 4K Blu-rays. Brazil coming to 4K Blu-ray in June as well. It's so many ones. What's the next movie you're going to watch? I'm actually probably going to watch tonight one of the movies on my director's reviews that I have to do for this month. I think one of them is The Greasy Strangler for Kevin Kruger. I'm probably going to watch that one pretty soon. I'm going to see in theaters this week. I'm going to see the new what's that new Alex Garland film, Warfare. Looking forward to seeing that one in theaters. Then I have a lot of movies lined up. I'm doing a slow rewatch of the Mission Impossible movie. So every once in a while, I'll throw a Mission Impossible 4K Blu-ray in, getting ready for Dead Reckoning coming out in May. I'm very excited about that as well. Are you most excited for The Hand That Rocks the Cradle remake or Final Destination sequel? I'm very excited for the Final Destination sequel. I always have enjoyed the Final Destination movies since I was a pretty young age. So I'm pretty excited to see those movies coming back to theaters. May 16th, I believe, for that. Looking forward to that. If we're in Igloo for 2 years, but could only 200 million, what are the 6 movies that you would watch? You'd have to watch them in a loop, and they can't be over that time. You're 150. So the movies that I can rewatch the most are like Batman 1989, The Terminator. I would take those movies 100% with me. Those are like some of my most rewatchable films. What else would I take with me as far as rewatchability that I can watch on a loop? I could always pop in there. Silence of the Lambs, RoboCop. Those are endlessly rewatchable movies for me as well. I guess if I'm looking for like Do the Right Thing, it's very rewatchable, believe it or not, for me. So like those are the kinds of movies I can always rewatch. How many home runs will Juan Soto hit next week? Hopefully more than he's hit this week with his 1 home run. At least Pete Alonso is having a career year so far earlier in the year. And how about those damn Yankees? Aaron Judge hits a home run basically every single day. I might watch The Beguiled. I know that Eastwood I haven't seen. Beguiled is pretty good. I can definitely recommend that one. I'm excited for Swordfish on 4K. Yeah, Swordfish I'm very excited about. I'm not too sure if that's going to be a day one for me. If I can get the money for it, it definitely will be. But right now, money's a little tight. I would like to see a movie about the first ever Chinese food restaurant. And look at their huge expansion in the United States. There's one everywhere. I watched Hell of a Summer in theaters last night today. It was okay. So you wouldn't recommend that one, Mr. Smelly Potato? I guess that one's one I should. I wanted to see the Princess Mononoke re-release in IMAX. I don't know if anyone got to see that. Swordfish should look really good. It should look great on 4K. That's definitely for sure. So excited for Swordfish. If you guys are into Swordfish on 4K Blu-ray, I think I have to grab that one in your honor. Like you guys are the channel supporters, and you probably want a review for that. So I think I'm gonna have to review that. I'm gonna have to make that one happen. I'll get the money. I'll make it work because I don't want to let you guys down. It's those torpedo bats. Yeah, but I can't say anything no more because Francisco Lindor on the Mets is using one of those torpedo bats too, and Aaron Judge isn't using one. Like it's obviously making a big difference for Joel Chisholm because he's freaking, it's really for people like that are choking up on the bat a little bit. So like that's why you put the wood there. They're still legal. Anyone can use them, and apparently the orders are through the roof. I like home run baseball, so I'm okay with that. I know a lot of people might not like it, but I'm into it. Did you have any bad weather this week? It's raining right now, actually, which really sucks because after the show's over, I have to go outside and grill my burgers for my dinner because I only have like a half-hour window to eat them before I can't eat anymore for the day. So that sucks. I don't want to go out in the rain and make those burgers, but my wife does not want me making a mess of the stove that she just cleaned. And I will make a mess, so she's probably right. But hey, April showers bring May flowers. Who would you cast in it as Dwight Gooden? Oh my God, Lakeith Stanfield. I think Lakeith Stanfield can pull off Dwight Gooden. What is your favorite scenes where the person is hacking with the techno and camera moving, etc.? What do you mean is hacking with the techno? What's that mean? Like, like in Swordfish? I don't know. Those scenes are always so cheesy, but probably something from Swordfish. At least it looked cool in that. I think Iron Maiden should take Eddie and make a horror movie out of it. Oh, that would be a great idea. I'm surprised they never actually made a horror movie out of that character. Would have been freaking cool as hell. I always wondered with Bruce Dickinson, like how he felt after the skit on Saturday Night Live, guys, because, obviously it's not the Bruce Dickinson. Bruce Dickinson is the lead singer of Iron Maiden. Accuracy movie said instead of Catalina part, which should be the parts that it brothers. Funny enough, I think the Catalina wine mixer is the worst part in Step Brothers, in my opinion. I always felt like that's what drags Step Brothers down as far as being like one of Will Ferrell's best films. Like, I liked it the first time I saw it in theaters, but I always kind of drags down the energy of that. I don't think the actual singing part works. I don't find that funny, and I drag kind of down like, and they pick it up at the very end to send us all home happy. So I don't know what you would do. Like, you can still have the Catalina wine mix. I just don't think concentrating on the music really necessarily works for that scene, in my opinion. It just kind of drags down the end of the movie, which really sucks because I love Step Brothers. Just rewatched that again, and I still feel the same way about it. A couple of movies that came out in 2008, I feel the way about, like, a scene in the third act. I feel the same. I feel very similar about the Dark Knight and the ferry scene. I feel like that's what kind of drags down the Dark Knight for me, and why at this point in 2025, I would put Batman Begins above the Dark Knight. What's this say? Can you rank them? Sandra Bullock, Anne Hathaway, Jennifer Lawrence. Ooh, so this is going to be tough. I'll actually have to put on the bottom. I'd put Jennifer Lawrence at the bottom, Anne Hathaway above that, and then Sandra Bullock above both of them, only because I was a 90s kid. But I think Anne Hathaway of these three is probably the better of the actresses, if I'm being honest. Adam Scott plays an asshole so good. Adam Scott plays an asshole so good in Step Brothers, but then he plays one of my favorite nice guys in television history in Parks and Recreation. So Adam Scott's not appreciated enough. I mean, he's getting his flowers now with Severance, but I mean, his character was one of my favorites on Parks and Recreation. He actually reminds me of my friend Tim so much. I tell him all the time, I'm like, that's your energy, like that nerdy, nice guy energy that Adam Scott brings to Parks and Recreation. My buddy Tim is just like that. And I always appreciate it. That's why Parks and Rec is one of my favorite sitcoms. It's just so nice. I like to see acts of kindness in the world, and I feel like that shows Phil with him. What is one genre you think Christopher Nolan should attempt that he hasn't already? I want to see Christopher Nolan do a horror movie. Like, I like what he's doing. It looks like he's going to be doing fantasy on his next go around. We've already seen him do spy and espionage. We've seen him do biographical films with Oppenheimer. We've seen him do superhero films. We've seen him do sci-fi films. I want to see him do a straightforward horror film. I don't know how he would do it. He'd probably throw sci-fi in there somehow, but I want to see him do, like, imagine him finding a way to do something with a slasher. He's played with time before. It really can happen. So I hope it does. We'll have to wait and see. But we'll save this question for next time, Accurious of Movies, because I actually got to get out of here. Thank you guys all so much for joining me here tonight. We're going to be back next Saturday with another live Q&A show. So make sure you guys ask some questions for next week's show. Beastie Boys by Optic would be great. I appreciate that. So make sure you guys ask a question for next week's show. Make sure I'll put the poll out for the question of the week either after the show or tomorrow morning. If I don't put it out by tomorrow morning, somebody usually will remind me in the comments of one of my videos. And I appreciate you guys doing that. Like, I appreciate you guys reminding me of things. Kevin Kruger, like yesterday, I had this show accidentally scheduled for yesterday. Feel free to please remind me. I'm one person, so I forget things sometimes. I lose questions. I don't have a producer or a manager, so everything is just me. And sometimes I forget things. So I really do appreciate the help. So feel free to nudge me with that, guys. Thank you guys all so much. The dogs are waiting for the burgers. They're dying to go outside. So thank you guys. Thanks for being so interactive in the chat. Thanks to all my channel supporters, channel members. Thank you guys all so much. I hope you guys all have a great night. Enjoy yourselves. Watch a movie. It's Saturday night. Have a drink, do whatever you guys do, and enjoy yourselves. And I will see you guys around. Let's Talk Physical Media at 10 a.m. tomorrow, guys. Good night. Enjoy yourselves.